Welcome back to another episode of Oxygen Not Included, everybody. We had some problems with our save file again, and so during the last stream we did some fixing to get everything back to where it should be. I also set up an auto backup on my save folder because this is like the second or third time this has happened. So now not only do I have a backup of the save files on my hard drive, but I also have one on the cloud. So it should not happen again, fingers crossed. But we got everything set up pretty much the same as it was at the end of the last episode. We did move a few things around. I put the power generator over here on this side of the map instead of up here. I didn't like how cramped it was in here. And we just kind of tightened this up so that it was just a pump to pump it out to the storage tanks. And then we made our polluted water and our regular water tank here in the middle of the map. Right now we're working on expanding out and collecting some liquids from around the map. And I'm working on building a vent pipe to go up so that we can vent our carbon dioxide out into space, because we have a buildup of carbon dioxide so our natural gas generators cannot run. So that's the primary project we're working on. We're just going around and collecting, like I said, all the liquids that we have into various parts of the map. We're trying to get them all into the collection tanks that we have set up. So there we go. Game has been freezing up a little bit. I think there's a lot of lag because of all the entities on the main map, so we'll work on that soon in another episode. Another thing I changed was that instead of just having the regular cots, we put in a ladder bed, bunk bed system, so we can support right now up to 13 duplicates in this colony if we want to pull a couple more across. I don't think we're going to use that many, but they're there in case we decide we want to. We'd have to add some more mess tables, but that'd be okay. We still have the private bedroom up here for Sai that we want to do some work on, make it a little more fancy. But what we're doing just at this moment is working on putting in another filter on our liquid filter, because we have ethanol coming into the pipes. So we want to bring this power across. That'll finish that up. So this is pretty similar design to what we've done before. We have liquids on the left here and gases on the right. Liquids come through, and if they are the right gas to match, or liquid to match this filter, they come out through the liquid shutoff and get pumped out to where they need to go. Polluted water and water we're just dropping off into the tanks. We're going to be moving ethanol over here. We're going to be making a small ethanol tank. We had some polluted water get into it, so I'm trying to get that out. It's too much, I knew it would be. So I'm going to destroy a couple of tiles here. Trying to get this polluted water to flow out of the side of the tank, because we're still working on researching this geyser, and I forgot to close it off, and this was open, so polluted water spilled out when the geyser went active. But we got it all sealed up now. So we can see that this one is active now for another 80 cycles, so it's going to be pumping out polluted water, 113.4 kilograms a second at minus 10 degrees for 114 seconds out of every 583. So 583 is almost one cycle. So basically for 1/6 of the cycle every day, it's going to be pumping out polluted water. So we set this up to contain the polluted water, and then once the pressure in here is high enough, it'll start pumping it out. Well, actually, I have this set wrong. This should be if it's above 500 kilograms. There we go. So then I also have airflow tiles at the top. So the polluted water won't get pushed out the top, but the airflow will. So once we get a seal on it, we'll switch those over to insulated tiles. And then this will just stay filled with polluted water. We won't have any off-gassing from it, and it'll pump it out whenever the pressure builds up high enough for the pump to take it out. That all gets pumped down into our tank here. All the polluted water that comes out of the filter and anywhere else comes here and goes to the crops first. So we may want to change that up with this cold water coming in soon. So, okay, so now you can see we got the ethanol finally down here. So we want to set up a filter for ethanol. And then we're going to have to do some wrangling to get it across. So for now, we'll just do some spaghetti piping. Which I don't particularly like, but it is what it is. We'll do it like that. Like that. So we'll bring it down from the filter over to here. Across. Across. And across through here. And let's bring it up a little higher, because we're probably going to be making this tank a little bigger. And we'll put the vent right there. So now ethanol will be dropping off in this tank. I think I should be able to mop this now. And hopefully that'll get all the polluted water off the top here. Maybe not quite. It's getting there. I just want to have enough space to store ethanol so that we can grab it with this pitcher pump, because we're using ethanol for our airlocks or liquid locks on various things around the map. Mostly I picked ethanol because it looks cool. I'm hoping that this was not a bad choice over here, because after I did it I realized that ethanol has a vaporization point at 78.4. So if this gas in here goes over 80 degrees and it starts transferring here, we're going to have a big problem. But we'll see. Okay, so our food situation has definitely gotten better. We're still getting a lot of swamp charred heart from what we're on the base, but we're sitting on 20,000 calories of bog jelly. 1,000 of packed beef fillet. Why is that not being cooked? Probably just didn't get there yet. Won't be delights. What's that made from? Oh, from bog jelly we can get poor quality food. Sure, we can do that. Bog jelly's pretty new to me, so I don't know exactly what we're going to do with it. Okay, so we're digging up over here. I don't mind if that liquid falls down, because at the bottom of this ladder is a tank I made to collect all the liquids from up here. So we're going to just keep on digging up until we get to the edge of space. I do have atmo suits I could put on, but I'm not going to worry about it. We're not going to be up here long. We're going to put a vent stack up, and let's just regular gas vent. So the duplicates won't be up here long enough that it'll become an issue. They're just going to come up here, make that stack, and then I'll seal it off at the top. But as they dig up, this water will all spill down in here, and that's fine, because our pump is right here, pumping everything out. We'll get all this out, and then we'll move the pump down here to get this and all the other liquids over here. Oh no, our ethanol is spilling over. It's a big problem. I didn't think we had quite that much, so. Fine, we don't need to mop it up, we just need you to fix this. Fix a wall. Real quick. Oh, commit was confused. I don't mind if it drips down here. We'll get it all. We'll get it all once we get down here. But I need to get it sealed up so we have somewhere for it to go. I won't do the ladder first. Do the tile first. I could have set the priorities correctly, and then they would have done that. But what's the fun in that? We'll bring this tank up even. I think that that'll be enough. Okay, I must have background tiles there. There was an old Gravitas building here, so there's drywall behind these tiles. Okay. Now we have some storage. Ethanol for a while. We're going to keep filtering out all these liquids and working on getting this gas stack up. So I'll come back once this is all built and we have carbon dioxide running again so you can see the power system running. So, be back in a few minutes. We've gotten our vent stack completed. Reached the surface into space. We are going to put a tile right here to seal that back off so we don't vent everything out into space. We just want to vent what we were going to vent. I'm sure we're going to have some issues with the fact that I just did it with a regular gas pipe, because this is going to get very cold very quick. So it may cause some issues, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. For now, we're finally venting out carbon dioxide to space, which means that our natural gas generators are back to running, which means everything in the base is powered back up fully without wasting all the coal. And it was just in time, because our coal supplies were down to 3 tons. So, all worked out well. May go back to using exosuits now that I can afford to get them powered up. I just drained all this ethanol into this batch too, into this pond, because we're just going to sort it all out. We may have some issues with the size of our tank, so we have to increase that ethanol, but we will see when we get to it. Just have to keep an eye on that. One thing I think I want to do with that... Okay, I did already do it. The left side of this is shorter than the right side, so if for some reason I forget to pay attention to it, which I probably will, and this overflows, it will overflow this side. I don't think it will, because the drain is below that anyway. I think it'll over-pressurize itself before it goes over the top, but I definitely do not want it spilling over ethanol onto our crops, because it'll stop our crops from growing. So I think that I'm going to cut off this gas pump here, because it is pumping out all the gases here, but there's not... It's mostly oxygen now, polluted oxygen. There's a little bit of chlorine around, but I think I'm going to let it all settle. Some natural gas. And then we'll put in another pump later on, farther down in the map, once we expand farther. We did notice that there was a bunch of geysers along the way up here. So there is a cool salt slush geyser, which will give us brine at minus 10 degrees. And there is a cool slush, another cool slush geyser, which gives us polluted water at minus 10 degrees. So that between the two of them and the one that we already have set up over here, we have a ton of cold water coming into the base. And we still haven't explored the rest of it. So definitely water production is not going to be an issue here. I think that it may be pretty much what we're producing here. I want to collect these arbor trees and take them back to our main base. That was the main reason we wanted to come over here, because I want to set up a pit farm for our main colony to start producing more dirt. And with arbor trees, you can go. It's much more effective. Let's check out this pretty pod while it's here, 'cause it just popped. just take the lime. I don't really want to add any more people to the colony right now. 22 is a lot to support for the moment. Though we have the potential to support many more, but I want to get the bases all cleaned up before we do any of that. Down here we got a carbon dioxide geyser, which isn't going to be any use to us. We'll just cap that off. And then there's a few other ones around the base. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is explore out, get to these, and dig them out so we can see what they are and cap them all off. That way we have them under control, much like we did on the first base. And while we're doing that, we'll collect all the water pockets together into this one pool that we're going to sort out. And then I think after that, we're going to work on setting up some local oxygen and cooling for this asteroid. And then pretty much the only thing you have to do after that is to get a proper base set up, because we want to do, since we have a smaller population here, we're going to make individual apartments for all the duplicates that are here and do some with that. And then I'm not sure what else we're going to do on this colony yet. We'll have to come up with a particular project that therefore this might be a good place to set up like a food colony to produce other foods than the barbecue that we're using. We could set up all the farming here since we have so much water that we have access to. So we'll see. But for now, I'm going to go through and I'm going to collect up all the geysers and get them capped off, and I'm going to start working on just getting the base sealed up a little bit more and getting ready to have all of our duplicates going out on Atmos suits everywhere, because we can power that infinitely now. Also, just to note here, we have natural gas coming out here. I have this set above 500 kilograms. This should be... Oh, I have a hydro sensor in there. I wonder how many people in my comments have been telling me how dumb that is. Oops, I deconstructed the wrong thing. So let's fix this quick. Put an Atmos sensor in there like it's supposed to be. We want it made out of steel. Connect it back up. But so these were not running for a large portion of time, but we managed to make it through with about half of our natural gas intact, and now we're going to be pumping more in. So after we run through for a little while longer, we'll be able to see if this natural gas is going to be enough to keep us powered. Like I said before, we may also set up a system where we pump in petroleum and set up some petroleum power on this side to get some more polluted water. So we'll set up a system to trade in petroleum and send out different food types from here to the main base. And eventually, once we have more than one asteroid, we can use our main base as a place to distribute food to all the other colonies. Because the... How do I bring it to that? Starman. Let's see. Good to remember that. We'll have a lot more colonies that we can, or asteroids that we can discover as we spread out all through the star map. There's quite a bit more to go. So, we're going to focus on getting the achievements done, and then we may continue on with doing some more of that in this playthrough, or we may start a new one. We will see what happens, but I'll be back after we get some more setup on here, and I'd like to get this base running with full Atmos suits before we finish the episode. So, I will see you in a few minutes. First thing I decided to do in our base reorganization is to install some plumb toilets, because the outhouse was it served its purpose, but it's time for it to go. one of the problems I find with this game is that you have so many things that you're trying to do that a lot of times you forget. Um, I think I need to make a to-do list for this colony, because I know that one of the things I was talking about being priority is getting a deep freeze set up and getting power set up and all these things. I keep getting sidetracked, but that could be my ADD acting up too. Either way, now have this bathroom set up. I have a nice place for them to sleep. I have consistent food. They still have oxygen coming from the main colony, but they have plenty of oxygen. So this colony is pretty well set as far as everything they need. So now it's adding bells and whistles and making everything just a little bit better in here. So what we're going to focus on going forward is just we'll slowly explore around, and we'll finish up closing up these geysers like I was talking about, and stuff like that. But for our next episode, the very first thing we're going to focus on is getting a proper dining hall set up with food storage that has a deep freezer, and that way the food that we produce here can be stored properly and not go to waste. And then also I want to set up just storage for an infinite storage system for all the other items in the map, because as we go out and explore, I'd like to keep cleaning as we go. Since this asteroid is much smaller than the main one, we can make it much tidier, and I think make a pretty cool little farming colony here. So that's what we're going to focus on during the next episode, and then we will probably after that. That means this colony is pretty stable. It'll be able to run on its own. We will go back to the main colony to do some work and do a few episodes over there, and we'll be switching back and forth. I'd like to start working on actual space exploration soon, because I'm excited to get working on that, because I have not really ever done that before. So it should be interesting for me, and I hope for you guys as well. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any feedback or things you'd like to see or suggestions, I'm always looking for any feedback in form of comments that you have. So I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.